This is the one I was talking about where these two cops,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the scenario was, what happened, but
It was actually in Grand Junction.
was it
Mm-hmm.
really?
Yeah, it was in Grand Junction.
So this was Grand Junction Police.
Yep.
That's insane. So these two cops had tasers, and there's this guy at Walmart,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just gonna have
Right there.
to
Here's
find
a
a
video.
video. Let me see if I can find one good for the video. I don't want to go to Reddit.
Reddit's reliable. I get all my news from Reddit.
Do you really?
No.
Let's see.
I get my memes from Reddit. That's it. Yes. Grand Junction, Colorado.
Mm-hmm. Dang. That's cray cray.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, so they're already in the fight. Right?
yeah.
And this guy, he is throwing punches. Now, and right here, this officer, he keeps, going to the taser. Something's going wrong with the taser. I'm assuming he either hit the jacket, because if a taser doesn't make a good connection, you don't get that lockup that you see. Now he's kind of given up. He's trying to tackle him, but he lacks what I would say is the basic grappling skills to finish that takedown. The other officer, I think he injured his knee tripping over that Walmart basket, and then eventually they get what they're looking for. It's called is that lockup where he falls to the ground and the other cop kind of gets
What
him.
do you think they could have initially done? Is pulling your taser out a good call for this, or should you have just tried to gain control immediately?
So I've been in some serious incidences where I've had to like defend myself or defend other people, right? So we can talk about this. First, okay, a lot of law enforcement officers are not well trained in physical combat.
Mm-hmm.
Just using my hands to control another person. What does that mean? I'm not saying that I want to go onto the street and throw hands with everybody that I need to arrest that resists, right?
Mm-hmm.
But some law enforcement officers are undertrained in basic use of physical force. When I say physical force, I mean using my body to control your body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, what is a super effective tool is the taser is an incredibly effective tool. And what happens a lot of times is law enforcement officers, they get the compliance from the taser. So they use it and they use it. And it is, let me preface this, the taser is a very effective tool, right? But reading when it's proper to use the taser and when it's not proper to use the taser is important. So what happened in that situation is clearly this guy wants to throw hands.
Mm-hmm.
The taser is a weapon for distance. It's a less than lethal weapon used for distance. If I close the distance too fast for you to be able to pull that and use it, then that is not as effective as it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Throw that in with the fact that you're catching haymakers from this guy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Further limits your ability to properly use that tool. So in this situation, so here's an interesting thing. I talked to a guy who personally knows those two.
Okay.
They're not trained enough on the use of physical force to defend themselves, just flat out. And you can see that through this demonstration,
Mm-hmm.
right? I can't say whether or not they're overly trained on taser. Maybe they are, but they decided to use a tool, and when the conflict took a turn where that tool was no longer useful, they failed to make that realization and holster it and go to hands on. Now, when the officer does go to try to attempt to grapple, he's ineffective, and I think it's essentially because he's not well trained. So, as you and I know this, generally speaking, if you pull the video back up, we can watch it. And I don't know if you're gonna do like an overlay when this comes out, but yeah, click on that, and I'll talk about the exact point where he could. Okay, so this guy's already throwing punches. His partner pulls out the taser. He's backing up. Pause it right there. Okay, first of all, he's backing up in a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I get to play Monday Night Card. I get to be this guy.
Go
right
for
now.
it.
Yeah.
I want to hear it.
Now, I want to preface this with nobody's perfect, right? This guy was under a lot of stress and he had a decision to make at the time, and it is unfortunate that he's getting put on the chopping block for the whole world to see. Sucks.
Yep.
Sucks. This is not a condemnation on these two individuals at all. Not at all. It is going to be a condemnation on their lack of training, and that's it. And whatever they do is up to that. One, he's going back in a straight line. Okay. Generally speaking, going back in a straight line isn't effective because you don't know what's behind you. We see that in a different part of this video because the guy goes straight back through a shopping cart and he falls. And I think he catches a knee injury in that fall.
He did.
This guy goes straight back. Generally, if you're trying to go straight back, it's a good idea to J. So you're going to go straight back and then you're going to turn. Because it kind of gives you that time to see what was behind you. But go ahead and play it. So he's going straight back. He still has the taser in his hand. He can't just let go of it because we don't know if Joe Schmo is going to pick it up. So right here, he's trying to holster it, tries to use it. He goes to holster it. He's trying to get that distance. Here's this guy. This guy, he just gets knocked. He doesn't walk straight back. He just gets knocked over the cart. Now pause it here.
Yep.
Okay. Now, I know this and you know this, right? But you can see the officer, he's attempting to grapple him by only getting control of his upper body. One, we know that that's generally, right, kind of like you see it in the kids' class a lot, where they just grab their head and pull them to the ground and hope for the best. Generally, takedowns that involve the upper body best are judo throws, and I guarantee you this guy's not trained in judo. No, right? So he's staying in the fight. Cool. Credit to him, staying in the fight. Good. But he's going for an untrained grapple, right? And he's going to try to control his upper body, the arms and the head. Does that mean he never would have gotten a successful takedown from that? No, but we can see that he's not there, right? And generally speaking, if you're going to try to do a takedown when you're controlling the upper body, you're going to try to hit a throw. And I doubt this guy's trained in throws. So there's that. If in a perfect world, in this situation, I would have liked to see a double leg or a single leg or some control of the hips.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because overall, and this is something that, maybe can be considered in the future, controlling the hips for a takedown is the easiest to train undertrained people. I can get most people to understand that if you control the hips and you trip the leg, that we can get this person to the ground. But if you're fighting with my upper body, my my feet can be super far apart, and you're just going to be trying to fling my arms and my head around, maybe grab my chest. You're not going to be super successful because my base is so well established. But on the other hand, I can take an undertrained person and teach them, hey, if we control the hips and we can get a leg or we can trip a leg, we can get this person to the ground where we want to be, right? So go ahead and play it. So he's taking haymakers. He already had an unsuccessful grapple. Go ahead and pause it. First of all, these guys never put their hands up. Like they whether it's because they're using the taser, but like you saw there, he's still taking haymakers and he's not putting his hands up. So they're not. I don't know what they train in Grand Junction. No idea. But nobody taught these guys to put their hands up, right? And it is what it is. Other guy, he's kind of out of the fight because he tripped over that cart, and I guarantee you he caught a knee injury from that. The way his leg bent, it looked like he caught an injury. Go ahead and play it. So he falls. The guy's still on the ground. He gets up, and then right there at the end, you see what the taser is supposed to do. He gets a successful connection with the taser, and that ends the fight. So this guy's... Yeah. So, I mean... I get to break this down. Now listen, I get to break this down and I get to be that guy. And does that mean I'm going to be perfect and when I'm put on the spot? Like, no. Like, one of my biggest nightmares, dude, like scariest dreams is like I get put in a situation like that and I don't perform. Oh, gosh. And then I get videotaped and get put all over the internet, and man, that's scary.
That I would say that's probably a big fear for a lot of law enforcement officers. But these two Grand Junction police officers were injured by the aggressive man at Walmart's. They fought back.
They took a couple blows to the
They
head.
did. I don't. It doesn't say exactly what kind of injuries they had sustained, but
Yeah.
they were both injured.
Yeah.
And honestly, just looking at the video, so here's just my own take on it.
Yeah.
You know, the thought process behind it could have been more thorough, could have been more thought out. The execution could have been more thought out. As far as like the thought process behind the fight, the altercation, we'll just say that. Very well said. You know, you're not going to do anything effectively with the upper body.
Yeah.
When you had that close range of distance right there, he could have easily gone to the hips, closed that distance, easily taken him to the ground.
Yeah.
But that goes to say, you know, how well trained are these officers in Grand Junction? I don't know. You don't know.
I do know.
I don't know. You know a little more than I do.
And the only reason why I know is because I spoke to somebody who had just left that agency and knows those guys.
Okay.
And it was kind of funny because like it was through Instagram and it was some random, but he was like, yeah, it's unfortunate I know those guys. And I was like, are they well trained? Like what kind of training do they get? Do I get to blame them?
Yeah.
Or do I get to blame the agency?
Yeah.
And he's like, they don't get what they need.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Because in these situations, especially jiu-jitsu is probably the most...
Oh, yeah. Jiu-jitsu would have turned that video into a 5-second video.
Exactly.
It wouldn't have been posted.
It's the most universal self-defense law enforcement uses for situations like this because it's very easily effective in controlling this situation.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, you know, if he would have switched from the upper body, grabbed around his torso, he could have easily just had that, you know, that lock in, had that distance, had that control. Fight I wouldn't say it wouldn't have been over, but the amount of effectiveness coming from this attacker would have been minimized, and he could have taken it down, controlled that fight easily.
100%.
It would have been over in less than a minute and 30 seconds. This was like a minute too long. This was 30 seconds too long.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You know, and so my hope is that Grand Junction sees this, and man, I feel bad for the two guys that have to go through all of this media attention to have some change in their agency, but I hope that their agency makes changes after seeing what they saw. Does that mean the taser's not good? No, taser's great. Taser's a good tool. You know, OC, good tool. Every tool that you have on your belt, good tool. Knowing when and when not to use it, really important. I'm sure that they were trained on that. But the thing is the tool you will have on you the most, and this is an interesting thing. There's an agency in Florida that adopted jiu-jitsu as its form of like physical hand-to-hand defense. Their uses of force dropped by 33%. Their injuries had a significant drop for both suspects and officers. So, you know, maybe Grand Junction makes a change. Maybe they're already using some form of grappling that I'm not aware of. There's a lot of maybes that I get to throw in there. But I would, you know, I wish those guys had jiu-jitsu because I feel like they would have made some different decisions.
It looked like they were a little overweight as well.
The reason why I say this is because those vests make you look chunky.
They do.
They had their jacket and their vests on. So without seeing them myself, maybe they were overweight. Maybe they just had their vests on. They looked big because I know one of them looked like he had his jacket on too. Mm-hmm. So, you know, maybe he's a little porky, right? Maybe he needs to get in the gym a little more. Mm-hmm. But in my experience, like the guys who are overweight, you can tell they're overweight even with their vest on.
Yes.
The distance and everything with that video, we can only assume, you know, maybe they hit the gym every now and then and, you know, whatever.
That's fair.
Yeah.